Hey y'all, can y'all hear me okay? Listen, we having if y'all can hear me, somebody put in the chat box. Y'all can hear the real money coach tonight. Listen, we're running into a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are here, we're live, and we see that you are watching. So wherever you're watching from, please, you know how we do. Put it in the chat box so we can say hello to you tonight. And it is Tuesday, 8 o'clock p.m., and it is showtime, and we are ready to roll. So if you can hear me, if I'm live, somebody confirm that with me by putting in the chat box that you can hear me. And there we go. We know we're live now. Somebody said, "What's your name?" Because if you're looking through the Facebook group, I can't see your name. All right. Phyllis, thank you for being here all the way from, I don't know if you're in Shelby, Asheville, of one of those. So here we got Cynthia Thomas in the Queen City. Thank you, Cynthia, for letting me know that you're here and you can hear us. Thank you also, Phyllis, for letting us know. We are in for a great show tonight. We're in a great show for tonight. You guys are going to come into the family living room. You're going to come into the Jackson Miller Suddeth family, Mitchell. We all related, but we're excited about tonight because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's also Small Business Awareness Month, and so we're going to talk about all those things tonight. And my special guest tonight is going to be my sister-in-law, Mrs. Kendra Miller. She is the founder and owner of 1Jurnee Coaching and Consulting. So I can't wait for you guys to get a chance to meet Kendra and to be a part of the show tonight. Now, I do want to let you know a couple things in terms of what's coming up with my schedule. I will be on June 10th. I will be part of the 2003 Spring Business Expo. And so that will be taking place in here in the Queen City, in the metro area, actually out in Concord to be exact. And the host of that event is LaSharie Rogers, and she will also be my guest next week on the show as we talk about that business expo. So I'm looking forward to joining that event and talking about generational wealth. Hello, Alice Martin. Thank you for checking it in as well. And yes, Alice said, I can hear you. And the other thing that's coming up on June 18th and 19th will be the MBN, which is the Matthews Business Network. Matthews Business Network here again in Charlotte. And it is the Millionaire Mindset Meeting. The Millionaire Mindset Meeting. And we have Malik Yoba that's going to be there, y'all. I think I may have mentioned this before. You may remember him from Why Did I Get Married? New York Undercover. He is now actor turned entrepreneur. He will be one of the guest speakers that Sunday evening, as well as Dr. George Frazier. That is Father's Day. And I've been saying that it would be a great gift for your father to bring him to the banquet. And then that following day, on Monday, we will have a business networking event in that same location that evening. And that will take place on June 19th, 2023. You want to come and hear Michelle Walker Davis. Michelle Walker Davis is the founder and CEO of IMG Consulting. They are grant writers. And she has gotten over $850 billion available, $850 billion available in grant money. That is the 2003 Spring Business Expo that will take place June 10th. And like I mentioned, the host is LaSharie Rogers, and she will be the guest on the radio show coming up on Saturday, as well as our guest here next Tuesday. And as you can see, there's a lineup of people, including Amy Steele, Dr. Marie Gladden, and Dr. Patrick Graham. And so I am looking forward to being a part of that, talking about generational wealth. So that is my itinerary. And then there's a couple other things coming up in July that we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about the Viral Networking Conference. that will be coming up with our friend Tony Harris. She will be in town doing the tour for the viral networking event. And so lots of great things happening. The schedule is staying full. I just was booked today to come out to New Jersey in August. I can't remember where it would be, some country club or some another. So that's all what's happening. So let's do this. Let's bring my co-host on, Mrs. Michelle Mitchell.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
We kind of get a little chuckle out of all this technology.
I know. Right.
Hey, some days it's kind of like that. Some days
it is.
So what's going on in the world of Michelle Mitchell Consulting?
Oh, Tony, I've been dealing with this shoulder issue. I don't know how me and my best friend both have shoulder issues, but
yeah, I don't know. Y'all just too much alike.
We are. I don't even know how.
I gotta ask you this though, Michelle. I gotta ask you, which shoulder is it?
It's my left. It was her right.
Okay, yeah. So y'all ain't exactly like, but still dealing with the same thing.
No, but we can still hug each other though. So
yeah, her left side, your right side. Okay.
Yeah.
But just I tell you, Lisa's doing remarkably well.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. We had the grandchildren, right? On the weekend. Woo, man. That was a work.
That was a lot.
That was a workout. That was a lot. It was a workout. But we love them. But
yes.
Man, it was a workout. So, I do want to mention this. I do want to caution people, and I just thought about that because I one of the names that's in the chat is that one of our viewers experienced identity theft. And so we want to remind people to make sure that you get yourself protected. Obviously, it's something that we do offer through Legal Shield, as well as some other avenues. So there's a couple of different things that we have that include identity theft. But in this particular case, it was involving putting mail in the mailbox, the U.S. Postal Service.
Really?
Well, the mail never got there, but someone got a hold of the checks out of that mail. And so we just want to caution everyone. Number one, make sure, Michelle, that you check your account. I mean,
that's true.
You ought to be looking at your account, seeing what's going on, have the protection if you have some way to do that. Because even though many times, you can recover from those things, the amount of time that it takes to do it can be enormous.
Yes.
And then since we have a social worker, therapist coming on the show tonight, the emotional side of it. You got to think about the emotional side of someone stealing your theft and all your identity and getting your stuff, right?
Yes.
So So I do want to remind people to be careful there. So.
Yeah, be careful. And, it's one of the things I talk to clients about, sending physical checks in the mail. There's no need to do that anymore because you're open. Your banking and routing information is on the check.
It's there.
Someone can just duplicate it.
Right.
So your safest bet is to use an ACH or, through your bank, sending checks through the bank because the bank masks your bank account when they do that.
Also, like the online
bill pay. Yeah.
Okay. They mask.
Where you send an actual physical check, they don't send a check with your banking information on it. It's from the corporate bank account, not your personal. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I tell you, somebody sent me a check through bill pay. And I'm like, 3 weeks later, where my check?
Right. It takes a while.
It's so slow. But and I know personally, and I deal with companies that do rollovers, right? And I mean, you're talking about thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, even six figures, even a 7-figure rollover they sent the check through regular mail. It's like,
That's crazy.
why would you do that? You know,
Yeah.
and they did not have an option of wiring it. The releases, they
Really?
didn't have an option of wiring it. They did not have an option of sending it express mail. There's like regular mail. That's the only way we send it. And I
Wow.
was like, I would just really be nervous about sending a check that large,
Yeah.
you know, through the mail.
Interesting.
Yeah, regular mail.
Regular mail. That's
Regular
so
mail.
interesting. You know, I don't know, because I'm part of the financial world in these fintech companies. Like this is what they do. They move money from place to place. So
Right.
I would imagine these annuities or things, they would have that type of capability. But
You would think so. I
you
mean,
would think,
especially very large financial
yeah,
institution. I
yeah,
mean, I think they have the ability to do it, but
yeah.
I think it's just they don't want to spend the money.
It's
But
okay. It's
I agree. I mean, but so to me, like to pay $35 for express mail, even if it's that much, right?
right.
It's well worth
Or
it.
how about a wire?
Or wire, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but you know, it happens. It happens.
Yeah. Well,
So
I hope our community is diligent about sending physical checks in the mail, because for your protection, I
yeah,
just wouldn't use a physical check anymore. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I think if you do have to do a physical check, if you do have to do a physical check, that to me, mailing it not certified, but priority mail
Priority.
or you know, express mail, that type of thing.
At
But
least so you can get a tracking number. Yeah.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I would
And
agree.
then, you know, take it into the post office or
Yeah.
into the institution.
Yeah.
So I know my mother-in-law always said that she don't put her mail in mailboxes. I thought she said that. I don't know,
Mhm.
but it seems like it makes sense.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing now, Michelle, in this day and age, because people are so crafty with
Yes.
different things, which brings me to this question. What do you think about all this AI? Because
Okay. Yeah. So, personally, I love it. I do.
okay,
Um, as part of what we do, like the bookkeeping industry, AI is a part of our software. And the more we can teach it, the less we physically have to do. But where our expertise comes in is after the transactions have been posted, and we
mm-hmm,
begin to analyze things and interpret the information, right? So
right,
the getting the data in is the AI piece. But looking at the chat GPT, I think it's a game changer. But there's always good and bad to everything, just like the internet, just like social media. There's a good and a bad. So how are we going to decide how to use it as a society?
well, and you know, right now, just this week, you know, the White House has, well, back in the fall, they issued the AI Bill of Rights,
Hmm.
and they just released some statements. Kamala Harris had a big meeting at the White House with the, you know, the big companies, and they're talking about. And one of the things that was disturbing to me was, and you know, actually, Tony did a really good paper and presentation. TJ did
Oh,
on biases in AI. Is one of his projects he did at Howard,
hmm,
and it was really good.
hmm,
Well, in order to get an appointment with a border rep, right, to come, you know, like from the southern border into the United States, and you need an appointment. Well, the only way to do that is through this AI
the
app.
app. Hmm.
And what they found is that the AI is turning away
Mm,
people with darker skin tones.
No way.
Yes. And if
Wow.
you get Sybil Wilkes newsletter, it was in the
Mhm.
newsletter this morning where she
Okay.
was talking about that. And so that's the danger with AI, is that when people are building those things, if they build implicit biases into
Yeah,
it,
I agree.
that's what it's going to turn out.
Mhm.
And so, and we know that banks have used that. And so if that AI has intuit balance or biases built into it,
Mhm.
it's going to kick us out just like anything else. So
Yeah.
hello, Dr. Benita Harris. She's checked in, had a great meeting with her last week. And
Hey,
so
Dr. Benita.
yeah, Dr. Benita and her mom are usually always listening. And so,
Mhm.
well, Michelle, it's
Yes.
time to have some fun. It's time to have
Yes.
some fun. You know what time it is?
It's time to bring Kendra on.
Girl, you missed the cue. That was a layup. It's
Oh.
Miller time, right?
Oh.
That was an alley-oop, Michelle. It's
I
Miller
missed.
time, right? I know you remember those Miller time commercials. Come on
I
now.
do remember that, but I
Ah,
didn't
good evening,
remember
Ruth
Kendra.
Bell. Ruth Bell is in the house. It is
Hi,
Miller
Ruth.
time. Listen, let me do this. Let me introduce my sister in love, Kendra. I've known her ever since she was a. Hey, Charles, good to have you here tonight. Let me do mention that Charles reminded me is that we are doing. Remember, we are doing the masterclass, the iPad Your Money Masterclass, which is taking place Thursday as part of Generational Wealth Alliance. So you can register at iPadMasterclass.com, or at that appointed time at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday, you can go to generationalwealthalliance.net and join the conversation. So, Kendra, I've known Kendra since she was, I believe it was junior high when I followed this girl from Jackson home from Kalamazoo, right? And my dad, I had a car, Michelle. I had a little Honda, not a Honda. What did I have then? I had a Ford Escort. My dad said, "You burned that Escort up going from Kalamazoo to Jackson, running back and
Jackson.
forth. You burned that car up, running back and forth from Kalamazoo to Jackson." Um, and so, because I got adopted into this lovely family, just a wonderful family. And I'll tell this story since I'm in the mood, right? So, the first time I go, like holidays, right? I don't know,
Uh-huh.
either Christmas or it was New Year's or something. Um, and so, but they had made some food, some
Mhm.
chitlins, right? Some chitlins. And so we got in this little Cimarron, and we was with Lisa Ma, and we were riding all over Jackson. We hit every party store we could find to find some hot sauce to have with our chitlins. I was sitting in the back seat, and I'm like, we done ran all over town looking for some hot sauce for these chitlins. Lord, I done found a home. Lord, you have blessed me indeed. I
Oh
found
my
the right
goodness.
family.
Wow.
But anyway, so just and you go as far back as we do. So
Yes, I
30
do.
years, we've seen Kendra grow up and become the ultimate professional that she is. And so
Yes.
I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to bring Kendra Miller onto the stage with us.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I,
Yay!
I have to laugh because I remember when I met you, Tony. And you're right, I was actually in ninth grade, but still at the middle school at Parkside.
Mhm.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And my sister came to pick me up from school. And she had this dude all laid back in the front seat with this tail hanging in the front.
We did.
Don't tell everything.
We
Don't tell it
did.
all.
I'll never forget that. But it has been a long time with both of y'all. for
Yes.
both of y'all. It seems like it's been forever. Like you said, Tony, we are all family.
Yes.
All
Uh-huh.
family here tonight. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. And you know, and I don't know if you know Michelle, but Kendra is the brand new business owner, 1Jurnee Coaching and Consulting, and we're so proud of that because we certainly believe in entrepreneurship. And you know, I think the name is so special, but Kendra, before we get into all that and start unpacking all that, I would like for you just to tell the audience tonight a little bit about you, you know, your credentials and all that. I mean, because I just know you as my sister, right? I mean, I didn't even put the MSW and all these initials that you got
A
behind your
lot of
name and all these
initials.
qualifications. It ain't that I'm dissing her, right? It's just,
Right.
that's my sister. So, but I would like for you to just tell people about your accomplishments and how you got this. And you know, even that school you went to up in Lansing, whatever it is.
Oh, you know,
Right.
that
But
that would be East Lansing. East
right.
Lansing, get it
But
right.
Tony, you don't know that I knew about the pre-birth of this, right, Kendra?
You did. You
Yes,
did.
it was the pre-birth.
There we
So
go.
it's
Michelle has
finally
been
coming.
around for a long
It's
time too.
finally the baby's finally here.
The
The
baby's
name has
finally
changed
here.
and everything since then, Michelle. The
Right.
name is different, and it is definitely growing. So yes, I am Kendra Miller, licensed independent social worker, clinically trained to work with individuals. So, born and raised in Jackson, Michigan, I am now residing in Blythewood, South Carolina, which I call it home now. I am the married mother of three. I have three adult children. Hallelujah. So, nobody is home with us. So, it's just the two of us. Um, Let me see. I've been in South Carolina for 3 years now, and I went to Jackson High School. Well, let me backtrack. Parkside, then on to Jackson High School, 1991 graduate of Jackson High School. Go Vikings! And then on to Spring Arbor University, where I got my bachelor's degree in family life education, and then that amazing school in East Lansing, the Michigan State University, where I got my master's degree in social work. So, to be a licensed master social worker means that I am licensed by the state of now South Carolina. It was Michigan. Now licensed by the state of South Carolina to provide clinical social work services to individuals that need them. It's the same kind of credentials that like doctors need. They have to be licensed by the state. So my career, I have spent most of my career in the school setting. I am in my 18th year as a school social worker, and is transitioning from that into my full-time private practice. And 1Jurnee has birthed in through that process.
Well, that's pretty awesome. And so Kendra, you know, as we're talking about it being Mental Health Awareness Month, why don't we get help? I mean, especially, you know, the especially the Black community, right? I mean, let's be
Mm-hmm.
real. I mean, I don't, and it's probably not just us. I mean, but that's what we know the best, right? So we'll
Right.
take Uncle Johnny and we'll put him up back on the porch, put him in the back bedroom, and won't get help. This stigma
Mm-hmm.
about getting therapy services that seems to be very prevalent in our community.
Absolutely. There's a few different things that I've seen. One of them is that, we don't want people in our business. We don't want to be judged. We don't want people talking about us, telling other people about us. If someone mentions DSS or even mentions a social worker, like I'm a social worker, they think that I'm in the business of taking children, and that's not what I do. Because believe me, I don't want to take your children, and neither does DSS, to be honest. Another reason is denial,
Mm.
or even a lack of knowledge. I was just having this conversation with my mom, and my sister and my niece this morning. We were just talking about mental illness, and how it can show itself, where we have people who are abusing substances. They're drinking alcohol, they're smoking weed, you know, they're using drugs. And a lot of times it's because they are suffering emotionally and it's a way to cope, you know. And so we take it as we just smoke weed, we just drink, and it's okay. When in reality, there's stuff that's going on that's not being addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's another reason. Sometimes people just, it's not acceptable to say you need help, you know, because we're taught as women that you just, you stuff is going to happen to you, and
Mm-hmm.
you just deal with it, and you keep on taking care of your family and your kids, and you keep on working and, you know, going on with your life and act like it didn't happen, you know. And men are taught to, you know, you don't show weakness by saying you need help, you know, you just be strong and you keep on pushing. In
Right.
reality, again, you know, things happen in our lives and we have to deal with them.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that. Talk about some of the impacts that you know, even childhood trauma can
Mm-hmm.
have on you. I mean, because we think that those things happen. It's like, oh, I was just a kid, but then you become an
Mm-hmm.
adult and you kind of still deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And sometimes we don't realize that's what it is. You know, when we become adults and we can't figure out how come we're in these relationships that are falling apart or they're in shambles, because you've been broken, and maybe the person that you're with is also broken, and then you try to have two broke people come together, and it doesn't work. It falls apart. And so we do experience things in our childhood, and it's this. There's a study called ACEs, the Adverse Childhood Experiences, and it talks about how childhood trauma impacts the brain development, how it impacts
Mm.
our brain, and it actually has an impact on our brain. And so I do always find it interesting that it's called adverse childhood experiences, because throughout life, this journey that we're on, we only have one, and we have experiences in life that impact us. And we might not always see them as trauma. It could be something as simple as a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You know, it's something as simple as a car accident. And we may not think of it as trauma, but things like that can be traumatic, and it alters the brain. And
Yes.
Mm.
so those are the things that we have to address when we're having all these issues in life and things are falling apart. We've got to really search why. And a lot of times what we do is we point the finger outward at other people and other things. If they person did this and he did that and she did that to me, and they put this in my drink, they put this in my food, you know. In reality, we need to look inside and figure out what's going on with us. So it's not, you know, what's wrong with you. It's more or less what happened to you, what happened in your life that caused you to now respond to things in this way.
Well, you know, I think that's a very good distinction that you just said. That was really, really quite. It's not what's wrong with you. It's what
Mm-hmm.
happened to you.
Happen to you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what, Tony, that's what helps me. Yes, I'm a social worker, but I am human. You know what I mean? And so when I'm dealing with difficult people is one of my passions, because I can separate the behavior from the person.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I have
Mm.
someone that's attacking me, I know it has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do whatever is going on in their life, you
Right.
know. And so it allows me to be not be offended by what's happening to or what they're saying or their behavior.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember that. That's so interesting because I remember I learned this lesson way back when in my office, and we had a client that came in, and this lady just, I mean, she ripped every one of us. I mean, it was like three of us in there. I mean, and she just tore into all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like a week later, we saw her obituary in
Wow.
the newspaper, and we
Wow.
was like, wow, you know, it wasn't us,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I think our bill was off by a quarter or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what she was going through, you know, the fact of
Absolutely.
what she was dealing with. Um,
Absolutely.
and I've been talking a lot about financial behaviors this month too. And you know, one of the things I talked about is confirmation bias. Like if we have biases towards certain things, then we will find things to confirm that
Mm-hmm.
bias, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, when it comes to our money, you know, if we say, you know, I don't know, just make it like if you say all black people are poor, right? You gonna go out and you're gonna find a whole bunch of poor black people, right?
Right.
And if you say all Jewish people are rich, you're gonna find what you're looking for. So if someone has those type of confirmation biases, because we grew up with these things that we say, right? You know, money don't grow on trees, you know, or we say, you know, you better eat all that because there's children starving in Africa. And all the, like that's the only place in the world kids
children are starving
is in Africa, right? But we grow up hearing these idioms and they develop our psychological mindset as it relates to those things. How can someone break those chains so that they can, you know, get a fresh start? Because we deal with it all the time when we're dealing with money.
Absolutely. You have to be open to it. You have to be open to the fact that the way your way of thinking may not be the right way of thinking. For instance, I grew up, we were taught you eat all your food. It don't matter if you're hungry or not. You eat all the food on your plate.
If you get it, you eat it.
If you get it, you get it. If I gave it to you, you're gonna eat it. You better eat it. Eat all of it. You know, and so as an adult who is always, you know, now health and weight conscious, you know, I have to remind myself that I don't have to eat all the food that's on my plate because that's what's not healthy. And so in order for me to change that mindset, I had to be open to the fact that the way I'm doing it may not be the only way to do it. And unless someone is open to that, then they can't receive it, if that makes sense. And that's one of the things that you know, through therapy, people can identify.
Yeah. I also think awareness, like some people just are not even aware that there is even an issue until they surround themselves by other people. Then they become like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking that way. You know what I'm saying? So first is the awareness phase, and maybe they've been told some things that they don't even realize that they've been told. They've been fed a bill of goods, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they believe.
And that goes back to, we tend to surround ourselves with people who think like we think.
Yeah.
That's what we do, you know, but I'm all about showing up to the table in the best person that you can be. You know, in order to do that, you have to be open to learning and feedback and exploring other options. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's so interesting that you're saying that. Even today, we were meeting with a company. I was meeting with them, and we were looking at the plot of their DISC profile because we do DISC in dollars. And when we looked at where everybody plotted on the chart, they all were like right there together. And so we have a tendency to even hire and surround ourselves with people that are like us. And we have to understand, to have a healthy organization, you need people in all those quadrants.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like, you know, getting on an airplane and there's no pilot because everybody's an attendant. Well, I don't want to be on that airplane, right? So we need people to be in the proper place, you know, on the plane and on the bus so that we can have a healthy organization.
Well, that's why I encourage, you know, working all these years I've worked with young people, you know, it's the end of the school year. We've got seniors graduating, and just, you know, the last week you're able to just kind of plug into them and just some more, you know, life advice and things like that. And one of the things, just like I used to tell my students back in Jackson, Michigan, I tell them the same thing, like there's more than just Columbia, South Carolina. You know, explore what's out there so you can know what else is out there for you. And everything you see on social media is not true and accurate. So don't base it on that, you know, but if you can get out and explore and see what else is out there, you know, please do that. Yeah. And so you can become a more well-rounded person and make better decisions. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. I want to kind of shift a little bit to 1Jurnee. And tell us, where did that, because I think that's one of the most unique names. Even when you used to have it on your plate back in Michigan, they had 1Jurnee, right? There's two license plates my sister had. One was K Boogie, you know, and then she switched to 1Jurnee, right? So I know where the K Boogie came from, but tell us a little bit about 1Jurnee.
You just put it all out there tonight.
Hey, you talked about my tail, so you know, hey.
K Boogie. I hadn't heard that in a while. But 1Jurnee, It actually it didn't start out as 1Jurnee. I would say in 2017, I was going through a transition in my life. And I was in counseling, trying to make it through this, and God was constantly downloading stuff to me, you know. And
Let me pause it right there because I think that's an important part. I don't want to miss that.
yeah,
Y'all, the therapist went to counseling.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Now, I mean, and if the therapist can go to counseling, what makes you think that you don't need counseling? Right? We all need it at some point, right?
Absolutely,
So I think
absolutely. I
that's just so
believe,
important that I don't
yeah,
want people to overlook that. Is that's how
yeah.
important it is. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have a T-shirt that says I have Jesus and a therapist too. So
Right there you go. There you go.
absolutely, because thank you, Lord, for the therapist. You know, because we take on a lot. We definitely take on a lot. Not only are we dealing with our own lives, but we have the lives of other people that we're helping them figure it out. But anyway, you know, and I was in therapy and just trying to work through this transition in my life, and God was just downloading so much stuff to me, and I was trying to figure it all out. And that's when Michelle and I had been talking and meeting, and I'm like, I want to write a book, which I'm still penning. I still have the same title, Michelle.
Really?
But I was on this journey, and one of the things that I realized is that forgiveness is a
Mm.
journey.
Hmm.
It is a journey,
Mhm.
and it isn't something that you just forgive once and then you never have to do it again. It's a journey. You are going to continue forgiving people, situations, things throughout your entire life, and so we're on this journey of forgiveness. And so um, I changed the name. All of a sudden, 1Jurnee came to me because I'm on this journey. And so I'm like, we have 1Jurnee, and we have to be intentional about living it with intention and purpose.
Yes.
And from there, it like 1Jurnee coaching and consulting has been, it has just flowed. I always say that God comes to me in my dreams. And so I have a lot of dreams. Like I wake up in the middle of the night and I can vividly remember the dream. And I'm like, where's my notebook? Because I need to write this stuff down. Because in the morning
There
I
it
won't
is.
remember.
She got the bug, Michelle.
Right. She got it.
Yeah, I won't remember in the morning.
Right.
And so writing things down. And so I've had this desire, you know, basically, you know, from my own experience, that I've had this desire to help other people make it through this journey. And it starts with forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves, and then we have to forgive others as well. Because I tell you what, forgiveness is so freeing. You
Yeah.
know, it is, in
Mm.
my opinion, the first step to emotional wellness and personal peace. And when you get to that spot, it's a wonderful thing. It just makes life so much better. And when I met my husband, I was just in a great place. I was in a phenomenal place. And you have two whole people that have come together, and we are phenomenal. You
Yeah.
know, when you have broken people coming together, you don't have very much to give because you're broken. You're running little pieces,
Hmm.
you know. And we got to think about all this stuff that we go through. And I actually had a little I got my little ball of yarn, and this is like the experiences that we have right through the years are just like a ball of yarn, and it's tight, it's all wrapped in together. And so the best way to get this apart, like I can take my scissors and I can cut through it to get to the center, right? But guess what I'm gonna have left is a bunch of little
The
pieces.
little pieces.
Bunch of little pieces. The best way to get through it is to work it little by little, unwind it and work through it in order to get a nice string when you're done, nice and whole. And so that's what I want to do through 1Jurnee, is to help people be able to do that.
Well, that's good. I love the analogy of the
Mm-hmm.
yarn. Love the
Mm-hmm.
color of the yarn, all that kind of stuff.
You like that? You like that
I
blue,
like that
don't you?
blue. Blue my favorite color. Blue my
Yeah,
favorite color.
baby.
But one of the things that you talked about forgiveness, and when we think about it, and it made me kind of go to my mind went to the faith community, right? Because we talk about that. We talk about forgive, and you shall be forgiven. All these types of things. But there's also, and I think it's changing. There's also a disconnect between the faith community and and what you do as a therapist and as a social worker and as a counselor. Because we have for years have told people you just need Jesus, right? You just need,
Right.
when you said your shirt, I got Jesus and a therapist, right? And so what's your, I'd like for just to hear your take on the faith-based community and therapy.
Well, and you're right. There has been a disconnect, but I am very pleasant to see that more of the faith-based community is supporting the thought of people needing therapy and promoting the mental health
Yeah.
awareness month. My own pastor is absolutely phenomenal. And we every week he's giving out different techniques to help people learn how to cope. We have a therapist at our church that's going in front of the congregation and giving them techniques and how to cope. And our pastor is just really is just all about it. And that's one of the many things I love about my church. But I think that more churches are getting on board with that because I believe that they're realizing how much the people in church, they're coming to church, but church doesn't always have what they need. They need therapy. Yes, we can pray for them. They need prayer as well, but yet they need professional people to kind of help them work through it. And again, I'm happy that more churches are beginning to embrace that versus pushing away from it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You just need Jesus. You just need to pray. You need to just fast.
Right.
And I'm not downplaying those things. I think they're absolutely necessary. 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. But I have enough faith in God to know that God can also work through the therapist, right? So you don't say, well, most churches don't say if you have a heart attack, then you just need to see Jesus, right?
Right.
They say you need to go to the emergency room. I'll come to the hospital and pray for you. And I think we need to take that same aspect when it comes to our mental health.
Yes, people need to take their mental health just as important as their physical health. If you were diabetic and you needed insulin, you would take that medication as well. And I'm not a huge component of medication, to help to manage your mood, but sometimes it is a very helpful because if your mood is unstable, then you cannot absorb the skills that are being taught to you. And so sometimes you may need medication to help monitor moods. And it may be long term, it might be short term, but sometimes you need that. And I just don't want people to shy away from that. I encourage them to ask questions, talk to your doctor, ask them what it's for, what is it going to do to me? Because a lot of times it's your body's producing hormones, but not enough. And so sometimes the medication that you're taking may help to increase those hormones that you need to help to manage your mood. And so I don't want people to shy away from it, but definitely ask questions. Anytime, and I always suggest anytime people are on meds, they should be in therapy also, not just the medication, but they also need to be in therapy. I'm sorry, go.
So here's the thing. Okay, so you've been in a school setting, and I'm hearing what you said right there. So now, what about at times that it appears that they want to over medicate our children? I know I don't know if we want to go down this rabbit hole, but
I know,
and I'm thinking of little boys. We always want to put them on medicine. I mean, here, I have a graduate with 2 master's degrees that they wanted to put him on medicine, and we wouldn't let that happen, right? We went to the doctor. Doctor said, no, tell them to do their job and teach the boy, right?
Absolutely.
And so talk to me about that. Of how do you find what's that balance of? How do you find that balance of them wanting just to medicate them so they don't have to deal with their behavior or they don't know how to deal with that child versus when there's really a need there? How do you find that balance?
I mean, and it's hard. I mean, the fact that y'all had a good pediatrician is the beginning. Because you have to have a doctor that you trust, a doctor that knows you, knows your family, and knows the child. Because I agree, I know my nephew, and I said it then. I said, this is what they're going to try to do, but he doesn't need that because they need to do X, Y, and Z. And so I encourage families and parents to be involved. And be open-minded, listen to what they're saying. But if you can get services outside of school, I always encourage that, whether it be therapy, whether you're working with someone that can give you some techniques to help this child be successful, and then you can share it with the teacher. This is what I do at home. Let's try this. And yeah, you're going to have some teachers that, that don't want to cooperate. Absolutely. But you know what? There's a chain of command. And
That's right.
and if you have to
You have to advocate.
you have to advocate
You
for
have
your
to
You
children.
have to advocate. You have to
Yes.
advocate. And it just so
Yes.
happened I was on the school board of this particular school where this teacher is. I kind of gave my opinion in a very
But see,
kind way.
also, Tony, you and Lisa were very involved. Like, you helped him quite a bit be organized and things like that, and held him accountable.
Yes.
And held him accountable,
Helping
and so
with
that
coping
plays
skills.
plays a big piece, because I will say there are a lot of parents now that want the school to do everything, including parents. And so that piece from the parent is so vital to the students, the kids' success. Yeah, because they could tell Tony, I'm gonna call your mom or dad, and he didn't want that. You know what I mean? That made a big difference, because he knew there would be consequences for poor choices, and he also knew there would be accountability for him.
Yeah. I'll tell you one person they wasn't gonna call, and that was his grandpa.
Right.
You got that right.
Yeah, they weren't gonna call him. I
one...
promise you, they weren't gonna call him. But that's that, and you look back upon it, it's all a part of that experience, of raising children and into being young adults, and there's no playbook, right? There's not a playbook of how exactly to do it, and so I love what Tammy Shea said. It takes a strong partnership between the school and the home to make things happen. Yeah,
and also support in the home.
Yes.
You gotta have somebody
do homework.
Yes.
Study for tests.
We had the same battle with our son. Like, you gotta have the home structure as well as the school structure.
Absolutely.
And then getting the proper counseling so that you can make the right decisions for the child.
Yeah. I remember Pastor Williams used to always say, he said, the first institute of learning is at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something else, through 1Jurnee, with given my experience in the school setting. I mean, I'm happy to help families maneuver as well. Currently, I'm private pay, but I am working, as far as therapy, I am working on getting credentialed by insurance companies to be able to bill insurance as well for therapy. But currently, it's just private pay.
Well, I do want you to talk about that. I do want, we got about 9 minutes left. I mean, I looked like just a minute ago, I looked up, it was 8:30. Now it's
right.
Almost 9. I don't know, this cat named Randy Miller. What do you put in there? Are the financial constraints one of the reasons African Americans refrain from therapy? Because it's costly if it's not covered under
insurance. It can, but I don't feel that that's been an issue. Like, I don't have family saying like it costs too much and I can't go, but it can be. But there's also places that will provide services on a sliding fee scale. And most places with therapy, especially like a community mental health, they'll take the Medicaid, they'll take the Medicare, and then you'll have some private pay that will take Medicare and Medicaid as well. And so with the Obamacare insurance and things like that, people should be able to access the health insurance. But the sliding fee scales can be vital as well to people, because there are agencies that provide that based on your income.
So 1Jurnee coaching and counseling. Tell us the aspects of the coaching and the counseling. They're both
what's
in
the
there.
Difference?
Well,
and it's 1Jurnee coaching and consulting. And I did not put the counseling in the name because, sometimes people shy away from counseling. Sure. But as a coach, coaching people through this thing called life. And like I said before, my specialty is just making it through relationships, helping people through, divorce, through hurt, through separations, even working with, students or individuals who have ADHD. And I'm working with men and women, and I do have some teens as well. But my specialty is with adults. Um, Again, helping them move through this journey called life, and just kind of doing some self-exploring, and being able to become a whole person themselves as an individual person so that they can enter relationships. And they're not just talking romantic relationships. I'm talking friendships. I'm talking relationships within your family,
Sure.
so that you can show up in these relationships happy, healthy, whole.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
got some business partners that probably need some relationship help, right? So if someone wanted to, they wanted to talk to Kendra, they wanted to talk to Mrs. Miller, who are you taking, or give us a little bit, give us that now.
Males and females. You mean who my population is?
Yeah.
Males,
Yeah.
females, 18 years old and up. And my services are all virtual. And so, you don't necessarily have to live here in Blackwood or in Columbia, South Carolina. So my services are virtual. But if men or women, and you just want to become healthier, increase your emotional wellness, and be happier, and just kind of figure out what it is that has happened in your life and how it has impacted you, I could be the one to help you do that. And they can reach me through my website, or they can call me or text me, email, all that good stuff.
Well, we gotta give them that information.
I know. So my website, and I'm so excited because it's new, y'all. I'm doing that. So it was 1Jurnee, 1Jurnee.com. And on the website, you will also find my phone number, which is 803-587-8327. 803-587-8327. And then my email is 1JourneeCoaching@gmail.com. And that's the number one, JURNEE, coaching@gmail.com.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Oh, you look
Thank
like your
you.
sister on your website.
You just pulled it up. There it is. 1Jurnee.com. And all the information's there as well in terms of how to contact Kendra if you need services, want services, and all those good things. So Kendra, as we boil down to the last few minutes here, what parting words would you want to leave with anyone who's watching this tonight live, or maybe they might be watching the recording? What is those final words you'd like to leave them?
My final words would be, I encourage people to take care of themselves. Everyone else pulls at us. There's always responsibilities. There's family, there's children, there's spouses, significant others. But we have to take some time to invest in ourselves so that when you show up the best version of yourself that you could possibly be. So I encourage everybody to do that. And remember, we have one journey, just one. We are afforded only one journey, and we have to live it with purpose and intention. So call on me if you need me, because I can help you and we can do this thing together.
There it is. There it is. And I love that. Just be the best version of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, that's like drop the mic, right? I mean, that's what we're all striving to be, is the better is the best version. I'll tell you what's on. I mean, that brother was on that one, wasn't it? He was,
I like him. I like him a lot.
On it. He's on it. And watch this. Watch this. And you got to really think. You got to really think about things and get your mind right, right? So there we go. Another alley-oop I threw out there. And
Right.
look, some of the responses we got, great words of wisdom, thanks, great information. And so, Kendra, thank you. And I just can't wait to have a seat as your business just flourishes and becomes all
Welcome
that
to
you
entrepreneurship.
What's that?
Welcome to entrepreneurship.
Welcome to entrepreneurship. Here we are. So, and it's a great journey.
It is.
It's not an easy journey. There's times when it's tough, but then the benefits of it are tremendous. And it's not meant for everybody. It's not meant for everybody. Everybody's not meant to be, but
absolutely.
But
absolutely.
We need entrepreneurs, and we need therapists, right? We need these services in our community, and we need to do everything we can to strike down the stigmas that we sometimes have when it comes to it. So, so thank you for coming on the show. I was so excited. Ivan was kind of booking me some people, and I was like, no, I can't book them because I had to I had to get to Kendra, because it was very important to me that we have this conversation in May.
Yes.
And because of it being Mental Health Awareness Month, we needed to make sure that we had this conversation, because we want our community, the TRMC, the Real Money Coach community, to be healthy, both financially, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Yes. So we want all those aspects of your life. And if you have not joined our private Facebook group yet, do that. Go to the Real Money Coach community, join that private Facebook group. If you need to sit down with someone on someone's couch and work it out, make sure you get a hold of Kendra. If you need to get your business straight, get a hold of Michelle. And if you want to get your money right, contact me and we'll make it all happen. Listen, it's been a great show. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great, I guess this is the holiday weekend, is it? Memorial Day is Monday.
It's coming up.
So have a wonderful, safe week.
Can I give a shout out real quick? I forgot to shout out a couple people. My amazing husband, who's always supporting me, Randy Miller. And then, of course, my son, Marcus Gill. And then I want to give a shout out to my pastor, George Ashford of 1Jurnee Church here in Columbia. And then, of course, my sorors of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, the Rho Kappa Zeta chapter in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm sorry, we are St. Andrews, West Columbia, and North Columbia. So love y'all.
Now listen, she even found a church called Journey.
I know, right?
I know, right? I know.
You know that was God doing it.
That's God working. Yes,
that's how God works. He'll line that stuff up like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
He will do it. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
He'll do it every time. So, all right. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you next Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about the 2003 Spring Business Expo, which is coming up on June 10th. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.